The first song we'd like to offer this morning is written by Swami Ananda entitled, What is Love?
This is Pavani. We're joined by Lorna and Bharati and David today. It's our joy to share this Sunday service with you. Our reading today from Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Ananda. You'll have to pay attention this week. There's some subtle distinctions. This is week 7. The law is perfected in love. The law is perfected in love. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. In the Gospel of St. John, chapter 1, we read, "The law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ." Grace means the power to rise spiritually. Truth means the experience of divine realities, not the application in the outer world of that inner experience. Divine love is the soul's experience of oneness with God. Kindness is the human manifestation of that love. Grace is deeper than mere kindness. Wisdom is a divine experience. Justice to all is a human law, though divinely inspired. It follows as a consequence of the experience of wisdom. Truth goes deeper than mere justice. While following the law, we should strive always to trace it back to its origins in the vision of God. Get my pages right here. Therefore, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita urges the devotee not to be satisfied with spiritual precepts alone, but to go beyond them to the direct inner experience of the truth. In the 18th chapter of that great scripture, he says, "Nay, but once more take my last word, my utmost meaning have. Precious thou art to me, right well beloved. Listen, I tell thee for thy comfort this, give me thy heart. Adore me, serve me, cling in faith and love and reverence to me. So shalt thou come to me, I promise true, for thou art sweet to me. And let go those rights and writ duties. Fly to me alone. Make me thy single refuge. I will free thy soul from all its sins. Be of good cheer." Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Oh, 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 oh.
Good morning, everyone. I think I'll leave that. So, growing up, I was the best rule follower. Anybody else out here? In 5th grade, I was elected captain of patrols, and I had this honor and distinction to sit on the bus and shout in a loud voice, "Feet out of the aisle! Feet out of the aisle!" And I watched really closely, so you guys better be careful, those sitting on the edge. I thought that following rules was going to get me where I wanted to go. So when I found Ananda, and found all these things to do. You could meditate, you could energize, you could do pranayama, you could do yoga, you could do diet, you could do affirmations, all these things. I thought, I'm going to do them all. I'm going to be the best disciple ever. And then I realized, after too many years, that wasn't really going to get me where I wanted to go either. Because that does not give us that direct inner experience which Krishna talks about. So I have had to learn what it means to go beyond these, to go and trace, as Vajra read, trace the roots of each opportunity, each precept, each teaching, each law, back to its original why. Because all of our teachings, all of our precepts are meant to purify and to bring us back into alignment and into attunement. And when I first got here and started diving into these things, I realized that if I did not open my heart, if I did not start having a direct experience, then nothing was going to happen. So grace is the power to rise spiritually. And truth is the direct experience of these divine inner realities. Well, how do we start to have these divine inner realities? How do we start to do that? What I've learned is that it's a 4-step process. The first is getting ourselves into a state of dynamic stillness. Hush, for instance. It's in music that moment where the orchestra is poised and ready to play, and the conductor is about ready to give the downbeat, and you just feel that expectant hush. And that's what meditation is all about, is teaching ourselves how to still our minds, still our bodies, so that we can become more receptive. And then the next step is giving the heart a safe place to open. Because once you're in that dynamic sense of stillness, you can allow the heart to rest. And to feel safe, because that's the most important thing. If the heart doesn't feel safe, it's not going to open. So what we want to be able to do is come into a place like this, where you look around and you feel safe. I remember the first time I walked in here 24 years ago almost, and saw people that I still see today, and I knew I was home. I knew that I was going to be home. And for me, that allowed my heart to open and give me the chance to truly explore what that meant. Because up until then, I'd been rule following. I was, before this, in Indiana, and I got involved in our Presbyterian church down there, and my dad's a Presbyterian pastor, so I'd always had this yearning of, like, what are true Christians? What is the true Christian life like? Because you hear the gospel about drop your nets and follow me, but who's really doing that? Who is giving their self fully to God? So I got involved in all the committees that I possibly could. I got in the choir, I was leading the youth group, and I was doing all this, but my body couldn't handle it because I was missing that aspect of why. Those things were not going to give me what I was looking for, and my body told me so. I had it finally just kind of gave up, and I was like, ah! And so I started into meditation at that point, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey ever since. So getting back to the aspect of the heart, what we want to take a look at is how the heart can open. And if we open our heart, what do we expect to find? We expect to find some kind of vibration, some kind of feeling. We talk about this all the time. Wow, that struck a deep chord in me. I really resonate with that. I really feel in tune with that, because there's something that happens internally that starts to awaken. And in the past, I've talked about sympathetic vibration, sympathetic resonance before, and I'll touch briefly on that before taking it to a further point. I'll be right back. So I teach a class of fourth grade cellists, and when I show them how to play best in tune, I show them this magic trick. When I put my finger on just the right place on a string, these other strings will start to move all by themselves. So see if you can hear this. You hear those overtones? So I'm completely stopping this string here. And it's science classifies it as a harmonic phenomenon, which means they don't know how to explain it. But when I asked my class, one of them raised her hand and said, "Ooh, the string hears its note and wants to sing along." So our hearts, when it is surrounded by joy, it starts to want to sing along with joy as well. And so sometimes we are the big string, and sometimes we are the little string. So I'll show you what I mean. These higher strings are going to vibrate when I play the lower, the thicker note here. But if I place my finger on them, and on the piano, if you look inside a piano, you'll see all these felt dampers, and that's what keeps the strings from vibrating. Because if they all just rang all the time, it would be a very muddy, unclear experience. But what we want to do is remove the dampers so that we have the best chance of awakening those heart's feelings. What are those dampers? They can be fear, they can be worry, they can, just like in our security affirmation. It's only when we start to trust and to let go of those. And how do you get somebody to let go of fear? By giving them a direct experience. And so this is so important to have these things in our lives that give us that joy, that give us that direct sense of experience, because then we can hold on to that and say, yes, I have felt this, let me expand it. Let me take it into other areas of my life. It's tax season. So can we feel joy in preparing our taxes? I will venture to say it might not be that much fun, but if you can take the joy of meditation or singing or dancing or expressing joy and then allow yourself to come to that focus with that joy, I would say the chances are much greater than if we just said, got to get this done. So sometimes we're the little string, and so we want to remove our dampers. But sometimes we're the big string. And if I want to get these to awaken, I have to make sure that I am attuning myself to what is out there. So if I play the finger in the wrong place, you don't hear it. It's only when you say, well, that wasn't it. Let me try over here. Nope, that wasn't it. Or I can try to move it around until I come back to that place, and there I am. So it's about this sense of attunement that we heard about last week is a sense of listening to what is going on. How is God? Where is God? Is he responding to this thought? How do I feel in my heart when I think this way, or when I hold this attitude? And when we just think in terms of God all the time, that is what can also help bring us in tune. Now, you're probably wondering what in the world this bag is on the table. Usha, Susan Derman, taught me this trick when I was a classroom teacher here at the Living Wisdom School back in 1999, 20 years ago. She said, always awaken their enthusiasm, like bring in a box, and everybody will be wondering, what's in the box? And that way they will stay engaged with you as we go. So I want to share with you an experience that I've been exploring through musical performance and meditation. Many of you might know this song called Spiegel im Spiegel. It's a piece for piano and cello. And the notes are extremely slow. And when I play it, I have to count for a very long time, and my bow has to go really slowly across the string. And what I'm realizing as I perform this is that I have the power to draw your attention to my bow going across the string. I can invite you into my experience. And it goes on for 11 minutes like that. It's an incredibly powerful powerful experience to invite the listener into this experience, because again, the only thing that resonates in this piece is the experience of truth, is the experience of higher reality, of love, of grace. And my job is to share that, to resonate what I feel within that. But then I realized, oh my gosh, if I'm practicing this at home, who's my audience? And then I remembered, there's my audience. They're deathless. I can draw them into this room right now. So I started practicing this with the thought, I look right at my, where the bow meets the string, and I imagine drawing in Yogananda's presence into, and attention into this to help me stay, and Babaji's and Christ's. And I realized that this can work, because if I can imagine them with me, and that's what Yogananda said, to those who think me near, I will be near. And so then I thought, whoa, if I can do this with here, then what about breath? Because one of the things that I do is I take these pieces of fabric when I'm teaching, and I'll put it on the bow, and I'll hold the bow steady on the string, and I'll have the students take their hand and rub it across the fabric so that they can feel the texture, to feel that texture and the resistance and the rub and that feeling of the smoothness. So I have a blue velvet. I have a green satin, which is super smooth, so it creates a much lighter, kind of shiny sound. Then, this always gets the most attention, the leopard skin. So for the deep, really deep, thick sound. So if I wanted to do a green satin, I would the sound would be something like something very light and shimmery. If I wanted to go deeper into blue velvet, adding a little bit more warmth to it, and then the leopard skin, just more of that fullness. And of course there are tons of gradations and other things and other sounds you can explore. But this is one of the things that I did. And then I said, oh my gosh, I can do the same thing with my breath. And so do this with me for a minute. Just allow yourself to take a slow, deep breath and feel for a second, do you want to be a green satin kind of feeling in the breath? Or does it want to be that deeper leopard skin kind of breath in there? So you can feel this gift that we have of the breath, and thank goodness for this way of meditation, because using the breath, we can channel our focus, because it gives us something to focus on. And then I thought again, okay, if I can do this with my bow and invite the masters to be with me as I draw my bow across the string here, I can invite them to concentrate and bring their focus with me on my breath. So do that with me for just a minute. Choose one of the masters or all 5 of them, and just ask them to focus with you on the sensation of your breath, whether it's a green satin or a blue velvet. Invite their presence and know that you are not alone. So, getting back now to that direct inner experience, that truth. What can you do in your life to get to that sense of truth, so that when you speak, you're not speaking words that you're supposed to speak, you're not following the rules, but you're speaking your authentic truth. There is a movement out there, speak your truth, live your truth. But what is that really? Is it really just our likes and dislikes? Our sense of, this is how things ought to go, this is how I think things ought to go, and that is my truth? Or can we tune in more deeply? Can we start asking, okay, what is truth? What is the highest for me? And so it's the asking of these questions that lead us into this deeper experience. By asking, in music, I have to do this all the time. How is this supposed to go? I work with the choir, and it's such a blessed communication with God, because I'm always asking, Master, how should this sound? What can I fix? What can I help? What can I inspire? What can I draw out? Is this how you want it to sound? And in life, when I'm working with students, it's the same idea. How do I work with this person? What is the truth that is needed in this? And of course, cello has its own rules of, and my class of 4th graders are always like well, why? Why do I have to play it that way? And it's, of course, you got the kids that are like playing like this. And it's like, no, you need to sit up and you do this. But I can play it, so what's the big deal? It's like life. We can go through life doing whatever we want to do. But in the long run, and that's what they don't really know, is that in the long run, doing this has severe limitations. They can play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, which is where they're at right now. But they're not going to be able to play the Dvorak cello concerto with that type of technique. So if we want to find God, it is important that we tune into these precepts, because they, again, show us the way, But again, it's that inner experience of the why we want to follow them. Why we want to take the time to follow rules, to understand, and to see the deeper meaning behind them. So again, how can we tune more and more into this experience? By opening our heart, by finding that which resonates with you, finding that which awakens that divine experience, and then taking that joy and speaking that truth. If Swami Kriyananda were to walk in here and to say, God is love, God is love, and in fact, it was, please forgive me, St. John of the simple words, I have seen him. St. Anthony of the Desert, thank you. St. Anthony, just those 4 words changed history because people could feel the truth with which he said them. Now, we're all on this developmental path, so we are all on these different stages of understanding. And it's so humbling that, and enriching and opening, that I'm realizing my conceptions of life were completely wrong. I'm learning new things every single day. And instead of being really depressed about that and be like, oh, I was so stupid, or I am so stupid, it's like, hey, look what I'm learning. And that's what I'm really excited about, is the fact that I'm learning and I can let go of all the, I must be this way, because that's not very fun. It's more fun to be in that engaged, alert, curious, excited, how can I learn best way. So engage in life, but best of all are these words of Krishna. Cling to me. Make me thy single refuge. If we had time, we would sing the song Love God, and we should do that again sometime, because that is ultimately what this comes down to. Cling with all your heart, with your mind, with your desire to God, and pray that he come and awaken that presence within.
Next song this morning is Love is a Magician by Swami Kriyananda.
mine all the while. I listened, and love was there. I can't breathe for love. All the stars above call to me, come home. Life's waves all end in foam. Only love can heal all the pain I feel. What a fool was I to turn away.
Good morning. Right after service, we actually have 3 things going on. You can participate in all of them. First, we of course have our refreshments, our bagel bar. Vajra Madden will be taking portrait photos in Inspiration Room, the front room. If you are a part of Ananda and haven't had your photo taken, we would like to be able to feature you on our Sangha board up front, and so he'll be taking those photographs. And then also here shortly after, we'll be having our healing prayer circle, and everyone, of course, is invited to be a part of that. It's very, very uplifting. During the week, we have our usual drop-in yoga and drop-in meditations going on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And also then this coming Friday at the community, we're going to have our monthly kirtan. That'll be at 7:30 in the evening, by all means, or 7 o'clock, 7 on Friday. Again, a very uplifting experience if you can join us there for that. And on Saturday, Shubhatani is going to be offering a workshop here. It will be on meditation, the brain, and Kundalini, a very interesting combination of things. And that will be at 9:30 in the morning on Saturday. And then finally, I just want to draw your attention to what's upcoming in March. Quite a bit. We're going to have in the first 3 weeks, the first 3 Sundays, visiting ministers from Ananda worldwide. And all that information is on our board in front. You can see the different posters, who's going to be here. And particularly, I want to draw your attention to the second weekend. Nayaswami's Parvati and Maria will be here from Ananda Village for our semi-annual Kriyaban retreat and initiation. If you are a Kriyaban, by all means, please register at the front desk or online for these events. And we will also, on that Friday evening, which is, I believe, March the 6th, there will be a talk about the path of Kriya Yoga that's open to everyone. You need not be a Kriyaban for that. But by all means, join us for these activities. We look forward to having you with us. Thanks.